Mississippi Delta.
Mississippi Delta.
The Mississippi Delta.
The Mississippi Delta.
Mississippi Delta.
If there's one thing constant about Louisiana's Mississippi River Delta, it's that the Delta is constantly changing. It's a combination of land loss and land building, as Dave McNamara shows us in the heart of Louisiana.
There's a place in America's heartland where the land seems to pulse with a restless energy, where mighty waters carve pathways and ancient forces ripple beneath fields and forests. The Mississippi River, lifeblood of the nation, is more than a boundary or a trade route. For centuries, it has carried not just boats and barges, but the secrets of continents, veiling and revealing, feeding and swallowing, whispering of creation and catastrophe with every shift of its tides. But in the spring of 2025, something has changed. Waves of anxiety ripple through scientific circles. Reports from geologists, hydrologists, and disaster analysts converge with local stories. A rise in seismic murmurs, unsettling patterns in the earth, and strange behavior from a river that once seemed eternally predictable. It's as if the land itself is moving, gathering breath. Has something been awakened beneath the Mississippi's muddy current, a force so vast that it unsettles what we thought we knew? Today, we stand on the edge of understanding, where shifting ground and drying riverbeds lay bare scars left by eons of fever and fury, and where the urgent warnings of scientists force us to ask what exactly lies beneath. What if the Mississippi is more than river and valley? If it is a messenger from the deep past? Are we witnessing a natural rhythm or a meaningful signal? As disaster declarations rise and the country's eyes turn anxiously toward the river, one question echoes louder than all the others. Is something breathing beneath the Mississippi River? The awakening river. Unusual changes and unseen forces. To those who have always known the Mississippi as a steadfast force, powerful but stable, a backbone for America's commerce, agriculture, and spirit, the recent changes seem almost unbelievable. For generations, the river has been both a challenge and a blessing, cresting in spring, dipping in long, hot summers, adapting but rarely breaking. Yet now, in 2025, change is unmistakable, capturing headlines and igniting scientific debate. From Minneapolis to the Gulf, communities are reporting strange, disquieting events. Water levels, instead of cycling in their familiar pattern, have plunged to historic lows in key stretches. Sections once vibrant with traffic now lie exposed, their sediments baked beneath unrelenting sun. The Mississippi, a river so central to America's story, is drying up in places, stranding traffic and disrupting local economies. But these visible changes are only the beginning. Scientists pore over data, tracing the path of sediment downriver toward the delta, searching for clues. Most years, less than 10% of the river's silt reaches the Bird's Foot Delta, that crucial marsh where land and water vie for dominance and the future of the Gulf itself is decided. Now, even that meager flow has thinned, marshes wither, birds circle overhead, searching for vanished wetlands, and ancient mudflats crack open to the sun. Yet it isn't merely dryness that has alarmed researchers. Below the exposed beds and shifting channels, there is a restlessness in the very earth, as if the river is responding to deeper forces. Seismic monitors pick up low, persistent tremors. The riverbed moves in ways that cannot be explained by drought or climate alone. It's like something is breathing down there, remarks one scientist during a congressional review, his words echoed by the growing concerns across agencies. Major disaster declarations have increased by over 60% since the 1980s, reflecting not only more fires and floods, but the surging complexity and convergence of threats. Is this part of a cycle lost to living memory, or is some deep process, tectonic or geological, now stirring beneath the Mississippi's restless current? If the river is whispering a warning, Will we understand its message in time? Veins in the earth, tracing ancient catastrophes. Beneath the low hum of summer cicadas and the commerce of ports, the Mississippi River holds memories encoded in its very bones. For thousands of years, its course has shifted, eroding bluffs, burying forests, and occasionally unearthing secrets left by cataclysms well before modern memory. Geologists have long suspected that North America's midsection was shaped by immense ancient violence, by ruptures in the bedrock, by heat and pressure deep underneath, by earthquakes strong enough to transform entire regions. In Missouri, just inland from the Mississippi's broad shoulder, the earth is marked by events from deep time. Here, beneath prairies and forests, the story of past upheaval is recorded in rock. Using modern techniques like uranium-lead dating and magnetic mapping, scientists have identified the remnants of massive volcanic activity that occurred over 100 million years ago. Ancient ash beds and mineral bands within the rock point to times when this region was dramatically reshaped by fire and eruption. Evidence gathered has revealed bands of crystallized minerals and old ash beds, signs of episodes that left a major mark in the lower crust. Such cataclysms had lasting impacts. Under skies darkened by ash, ancient forests would have died, and new landforms would have taken shape from the debris. As dust settled, new soils gave rise to plant and animal life. These upheavals set the stage for many of the landscapes and habitats still present, altering the river's behavior and shaping the soils farmers depend on. But what does this have to do with the Mississippi today? Beneath the surface lie battered and upended layers of rock, their fractures and weaknesses influencing the river's meanders and the region's modern topography. Researchers still wonder, could old buried conduits channel unexpected underground flows? Could subtle heat left over from ancient activity be influencing seismic events or other shifts seen today? Even without present eruptions, the legacy of the Earth's restless interior quietly endures. Science searches for answers, and with each new anomaly or tremor, the narrative grows more detailed. The Mississippi River's path, resilience, and current changes are not just shaped by recent phenomena, but by buried stories that twist through the layers below. Awareness of these ancient forces challenges the idea that we have mastered this river or its land. Instead, history suggests that the greatest changes can come suddenly from depths, both geological and temporal. The choreography of plates, subduction, shifting ground. Beneath the river's muddy course, and far below the scars of ancient volcanism, the very crust of the earth is moving. A slow ballet of shifting tectonic plates, a process that has shaped the fate of continents for billions of years. Though most Americans think of tectonics as a coastal or mountain story, ongoing research makes clear that North America's interior is not immune to subterranean evolution. Recent studies have illuminated the tectonic past of Missouri and surrounding states. Beneath farmland and city, seismic and geological data confirm that this region was, in deep history, shaped by subduction, a process in which one plate slides beneath another, carrying rock deep into the mantle. The story of ancient subduction is evidenced by characteristic rocks, rare earth minerals, and the alignments of present-day structures. This process, far from being brute collision, is a recycling engine for land and life. Ancient subduction established mineral-rich soils and influenced topography still visible today. Changes in these layers have left traces scientists continue to map, clues to the region's underlying instability. Perhaps most important, subduction is a conveyor of the planet's elemental resources. Uplift and subsequent erosion brought those elements to the surface, nurturing the rise of life and creating fertile floodplains. The slow breathing of the earth, sometimes violent in earthquakes or gradual in shifts of sediment, has made the Mississippi Valley a cradle for biodiversity and agriculture. As researchers plot the subtle alignments of ancient tectonic scars and map clusters of tremors near fault lines, a critical question emerges. Is the seismic rumbling beneath the river a last echo of ancient tectonic activity or a sign of lingering instability? Most experts caution that while the major subduction and volcanism that mark this region are ancient, the resulting crustal features and weaknesses can become loci for more recent seismic activity. Any shift in the river's bed or sudden movement along an old fault could have outsized effects on the current landscape. Ghosts in the stone, microbes, minerals, and the memory of life. While ancient fire and shifting stone determine the landscape above, the most astonishing stories within the Mississippi region are found in the minuscule, microscopic life forms that have survived through unimaginable spans of time. The geological record, especially in Missouri and neighboring states, does not just reveal volcanic and tectonic history, but records the persistence of life in the face of repeated upheaval. Groundbreaking work by international research teams shows that deep within 2 billion-year-old rocks, ancient microbial life endures. Scientists have discovered living microbes sealed in mineral veins, their metabolism slowed but operational across eons. These organisms do not rely on oxygen, instead making use of iron and sulfur, elements abundant in ancient environments untouched by modern atmosphere. These microbes are not fossils. They are living survivors whose genetic lineage stretches deep into prehistory. Researchers, by analyzing their metabolic markers and the chemical environment of their entombment, have strengthened our understanding of how life can persist through environmental extremes. Their persistence is a testament to survival and adaptation, surviving the planet's cycles of change, volcanoes, floods, and shifting ground. For scientists, these findings suggest that the story of the Mississippi is not only about water and land, but also about life's ability to withstand disruption. Deep life may remain largely undetected, except during significant geological changes or when revealed by core sampling. As the river's patterns change and seismic activity is more closely monitored, researchers keep watch for signs of these ancient residents, remnants of biospheres from early eras. These discoveries challenge any simple narrative of extinction and renewal. Hidden systems may exist further below the surface, and every shift in the land or river may connect us to deeper ecological history. The awareness that ancient life endures in the Mississippi's geological archive adds a new dimension to our understanding of change and resilience. Echoes and warnings, the rise of geohazards. The unease along the Mississippi and the growing concern among scientists are not isolated. Across the central United States, the catalog of geohazards is expanding. The region is increasingly recognized as unstable, shaped not only by river hydraulics, but by a blend of natural and human-influenced forces. Missouri's new Madrid Seismic Zone is one of the most prominent examples. In the early 1800s, it experienced some of the most violent earthquakes recorded in North America. Events so powerful, they reportedly caused the Mississippi to temporarily flow backward and reshape the region's landscape. For a long time, such events were considered highly improbable to repeat. However, current seismic monitoring paints a more complicated picture. Today, clusters of tremors occur with increasing frequency. Faults that have lain dormant for generations are the focus of renewed scrutiny. As droughts lower river levels and aquifers are depleted, some scientists speculate about potential connections between changes at the surface and instability deeper down. Although these connections remain debated, increased disaster declarations speak to a region under mounting stress. Since the late 20th century, major disaster declarations across the United States have risen by 61%, a trend clearly seen in the corridor affected by hurricanes, floods, and seismic risk. Groundwater depletion has also been linked elsewhere to a higher risk of land subsidence, and in karst regions, more frequent sinkholes as underlying limestone dissolves and ground collapses. For policy and disaster experts, The convergence of hazards is sobering. Drought, falling water tables, and shifting sediment can all interact with the area's complex geology. Along the Mississippi, in towns from Memphis to St. Louis, farmers and city planners weigh the increased risks from river withdrawal, crumbling banks, and the chance, however remote, of a major quake. Each new disaster declaration becomes more than a statistic. It's a reminder of the intricate balance the region relies on. A river in peril, nature's response and adaptation. Amid rising concerns, nature itself is a dynamic participant, sometimes resilient, sometimes at risk. The Mississippi Valley has been a land of renewal after chaos, with diverse ecosystems evolved to recover from floods, droughts, and fires. Today, however, that resilience faces unprecedented challenges. A key indicator is the Bird's Foot Delta, a vital marsh where sediment once fanned into the Gulf of Mexico, supporting rich habitats for both wildlife and people. In recent years, scientists have confirmed that less than 10% of the river's sediment actually reaches the delta, a figure that has even dropped below that threshold during exceptionally dry spells. As wetlands disappear and the delta erodes, coastal habitats decline, leading to cascading ripple effects on regional ecology. Wetlands, home to turtles, wading birds, and rare plants, shrink when sediment isn't replenished, exposing communities further inland to flooding. Erosion and saltwater intrusion follow, challenging the survival of many species and threatening key nurseries for fish and birds. Even robust inland habitats, oak forests, prairies, and woodlands are increasingly vulnerable as the river's flow changes and droughts persist. Nevertheless, not all hope is lost. In spots where groundwater is accessible or historic sediment has built up, native plants and wildlife persist. Conservationists and local communities spearhead restoration efforts, replanting marsh grass, constructing artificial sediment diversion, and working with nature to buffer against future losses. Biologists document successes where habitats are patched together and species endure, evidence of the landscape's stubborn will to recover. The human dimension, memory, mystery, and adaptation, where the vitality of the river meets the aspirations and adaptability of people, the story becomes ever more complex. The Mississippi's watershed is both a bridge to the past and a forecast for the future, a region where communities have always balanced hope with an awareness of risk. Universities and research centers, especially in states like Missouri, serve at the front lines of education and response. Courses in river management, geology, and archaeology offer hands-on training, teaching skills from stone toolmaking to modeling river dynamics. These multidisciplinary efforts aren't just academic, they are foundational for preparing communities to respond as conditions evolve. A river's whisper, a country's future. We return, finally, to the water's edge, where the Mississippi's current still flows, brown and strong, through the heart of the continent. The tremors below, the exposure of riverbed, the rise in emergencies, all are chapters in a saga older than any city and more urgent than ever before. The land and river together have always demanded humility from those who dwell beside them. History shows that every gain is temporary, every certainty provisional, a lesson imprinted in the very stones of the valley. And as something stirs, shifts, or simply persists below the surface of this river, that lesson becomes more urgent still. Will this be the generation that listens, that acts, that learns to read the warning signs in the Mississippi's restless tide? Or will we deny or delay and face the consequences, written anew in each changed river channel or trembling stone? If you want to hear the rest of this unfolding story, to follow the mysteries and marvels of America's living ground as they emerge, don't forget to subscribe and join us on the journey into the depths, where secrets are never truly at rest.